Hope you're doing well. Um, well, we had Kimmy Bogner's memorial service today. It was a, how can I say it? It was a beautiful and somber time. Um, it was amazing to hear and to celebrate the life of a precious saint. And when I say that, I don't use those terms lightly. She was quite a lady. And to hear her children and grandchildren speak of her, it was awesome. What a legacy she left behind, a mark. And that made me think, and I want to just take a few moments today and talk about this. This will be a theme for Wednesday night, and certainly again it'll be throughout the week. But I want you to just take a moment and think about the things that really stand out with regard to your relationship to another person. It could be what they've done to you that has impacted you so directly, the harmful things. Or I think for most of us, those fond memories, the Proverbs 10:7, the memories that are blessed, have to do with the fact that this is a person who has acted in love for us. So I can remember my mother being very kind to me when in all honesty I deserved much worse. And my father, over and over again, they showed me kindness. I didn't deserve it. Those are memories of their love that spoke to me. And by the way, when they disciplined me, I was more than deserving. And in reflection, I realized that any discipline they ever directed my way was an act of love, a tremendous act of love. But I want you to think about the people in your life that really mean something to you. Aren't they the ones that act in love towards you? A mother towards her child, a parent, the two parents towards their children, grandparents for their children and grandchildren, a person, a couple that is in love with each other. They act in a way that is extending love to you or to that other individual, and as a result, that person has a special place. Well, I want you to think that God so often compares relationships that we have that are just natural relationships to a much deeper and supernatural reality. For example, Christ speaks of the husband's love for the wife and the wife's respect for her husband, and he talks about Christ being the head of the church and married to the bride, and how he washed it with the water of his word, and he laid down his life for him. And husbands are to love their wives in such a way, in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 26 and on. But considering that, I want you to think about, as we were reflecting on Kimmy's life today, those things that, the acts of love that were a result of her life, based in her faith for Christ. The little things she did that went the extra mile. People were speaking of her cooking. I reminisced, as I have many times, about my grandmother's biscuits. No one's ever been able to make biscuits like Grandma did. But she made them out of love. I still have the letter that I received when I was in Korea in the military that she sent me, wishing she would, you could tell it meant something to her to be able to send me, if she could have sent me biscuits. She did it out of love, and she did it for all of her grandchildren. I remember distinctly getting a bag for each one of the kids every Christmas. It was baked goods and perhaps some socks, or just, but for someone that was a dirt farmer and 30 grandkids, that was an act of love. And it wasn't just love for her family, it was the love that was inspired by her love for her Savior. I saw it over and over again, and I saw it in Kimmy Bogner's life. over and over again. And by the way, I saw it in Tom Bogner's life as he laid down his life for his wife as she was suffering and wouldn't let others take the hard work. He stayed with her right till the end. What a testimony of the love of Christ. Now, just think about it for a moment. There are those people that we love and we want to have an impact, and our actions of love speak to them. But think what the love of Christ that envelops our heart and embraces the world. People that we shouldn't care for. People that it's not natural for us to care for. When that love is expressed through us, what memories does it leave? How does that linger in the heart of a person? What does that say to them, and how does it speak to them? I know that I am sitting here today because of believers that love me with the love of Christ, not because I deserved it or they had any relationship to me, but simply because they loved me with the love of Christ. Speaking of two, and I'll close here, Nick and Judy Del Nino, now living in New Hampshire. Nick is in his 80s and he's struggling with his health. If you could please keep them in prayer. They let me sleep on their couch almost 5-6 days a week, and I would go into the Army, military, and get there in time for work, and after work come out, spend the weekends on their couch, eat their spaghetti, hang out in their house. You know what? They had no reason to do this. They did it because of the love of Christ. What does the love of Christ say? How does it speak through your life today? Because those are the memories that are blessed. That's the work in Revelation chapter 14 and verse 13. Their deeds will follow them. The love of God never comes back empty. Till next time, friends, God bless you.